Oh, I was delighted to do it. I love chatting with you. I was so
Isn't it fun?
excited.
You're like
And
my
then I
new
was
favorite person.
I was so excited when it was chosen by GMA. I couldn't believe it. I like sometimes they
You
give me a
couldn't
heads
believe
up,
it.
but I anyway, it was so exciting to hear. I want to hear all about your reaction to it. Maybe
Oh
I'll
my
ask you
gosh.
officially what that
Okay.
was
Yeah.
like, but
Hey, feel free. I am an open book. Ha 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 ha.
you're gonna use that a lot more.
Oh my god, yeah. I just wanted to see what it sounded like. All right. I don't know how
Yeah.
often I'm gonna
I
do
I
that.
love getting started off with a book pun. That's that's the way to do it.
I don't know if that was the right one though. That one was pretty rough. Sorry.
Well, there will be many opportunities for more, I'm sure. So
Okay. All right. That wasn't so bad. All right.
okay, great. It appears that we are fully live on Zoom and on YouTube. So I'm going to go ahead and get us started off. Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm Ann Crowell, and I plan offsite events for Politics and Prose Bookstore. But this evening, I'm very excited to welcome you all to PNP Live. And thank you so much for joining us in this virtual format this evening. We're striving to continue to bring you all the authors that you love and their new books to our Politics and Prose community here. At any point during the event, you can click on the link that I think is about to appear in the chat here to purchase the Violin Conspiracy on our website, which is great. I've already started reading it. I'm really loving it so far, so I'd highly recommend checking it out. Additionally, you can ask our wonderful author tonight a question by clicking on the Q&A button, which you can find down at the bottom of your screen. We're going to try to get to everybody's questions, but we do apologize in advance if we don't have time to get to quite all of them. We'll also have closed captions this evening. So if you click on the CC link, that's down at the bottom as well, right next to that Q&A box at the bottom of the screen. Finally, we want to thank you for being here with us today. We're so thankful to our family of loyal customers. You all have been keeping our business and our spirits afloat. So we so appreciate that. It's now my pleasure to introduce today's speakers. So first up, we have Brendan Slocumb, the author of The Violin Conspiracy, which is a riveting page turner about a Black classical musician's desperate quest to recover his lost violin on the eve of the most prestigious musical competition in the world. Brendan was the concertmaster for the University Symphony Orchestra at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro and served as the principal violist. He has performed with numerous small chamber ensembles and in the Best String Quartet. For the past 23 years, he has been a public and private school music educator and is a Nobel Educator of Distinction. He also serves as an educational consultant for the Kennedy Center and as the concertmaster for the Nova Annandale Symphony Orchestra. And our moderator today is Zibby Owens. She is an author, podcaster, publisher, CEO, mother of four, and founder of Zibby Owens Media. She has 2 books coming out later this year, which are her upcoming memoir, Bookends, a memoir of love, loss, and literature, which is coming out on July 1st. And then her first children's book, Princess Charming, debuts actually before that on April 19th. So very exciting. So please welcome Brendan Slocumb and Zibby Owens to PNP Live, and I will let the 2 of them take it away.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Ann.
Thanks for having me. Brendan, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to get to chat with you again.
Thank you. I told you you're one of my favorite people. I love it.
Maybe it's because I keep telling the world that this is like my favorite book, but that's okay,
It
you know.
has a little something to
I
do with
mean,
it.
you know, but I mean it. It's so funny because originally, when your podcast was coming up, I hadn't had time to finish it when your interview was coming. And sometimes I'll just like, you know, get it out of the way or wing it or whatever. Not out of the way because I love my interviews, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to
Right.
disrupt the schedule. And I was like, wait a minute, I have to take all weekend. I want to read every page. I have to savor this. Like, don't rush me. I have to do it. And I'm so glad I did. It was so good. And I finished it and I was like, this is like, what reading is all about. When you get lost in a book and you can't wait to see what happens, and the writing is so great. Anyway, so I felt very grateful to you for entertaining me that way. That's why I keep singing it from the rooftops.
Thank you so much. And your check is in the mail. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Thank you so much. Those kind words really mean everything. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
And then sometimes I wonder, is it just going to be me who loves something, or are other people? Most of the time, if I love something, a lot of people love it. But I was like, well, maybe this one's just going to be me. And then next thing you know, GMA figs it. And I was like, okay. It wasn't just me.
That was one of my, after it, was released, I would always say, I just hope someone likes it. If one person likes it, I am glad. I'm totally satisfied. One person, that's all I wanted.
Well, I think you got more than one. I mean,
there's a few, and I'm grateful to those few people. Thank you.
So for the people who've tuned in tonight who have not read your book, but it sounds really interesting, and so they want to check it out, why don't you tell them a little bit more about your book, and then I want to dive deeper.
Absolutely. So Anne, our hostess, mentioned earlier, the story is about Ray, who discovers that his old family fiddle is actually a priceless Stradivarius. And this discovery catapults him into superstardom in the world of classical music. And right before the Tchaikovsky competition, the Olympics of classical music, his violin is stolen. Will he get it back? Will he compete? Who took it? The answer's in the story. Zibby, so we're not going to tell anyone.
Read and find out. I hope everybody is going to click the link right after that. I was really interested in a lot of it, but what really reeled me in was Ray's childhood and how he got into playing the violin, how he was exposed to it in the first place, all the many hurdles that he overcame to achieve success. So talk a little bit about that and how it's so unlikely, right? How it's so unlikely that A, this was a Stradivarius, and B, all of the success with so many factors working against him. So let's talk about that. I love these stories like that.
It goes kind of deep there. With Ray playing the violin, it was, like you said, it's a little unexpected. You normally don't see, boys in general, and then little black boys playing violin. It's just an uncommon thing. And that kind of paralleled my early music education. I was one of the only boys, and I was definitely the only black boy in my class to play violin. And it's one of those things where, okay, am I going to keep up with this? I'm getting a lot of flack. It's like what Ray had to go through. This is not for you. Why are you doing this? You should be doing something else. Okay, this is not going to work out. Let's push you into something else that you can be successful in. And it's a very real thing. And I'm glad that I got to write Ray's character, which is based loosely on someone else that I know. Glad that I got to write his character where everything he has a lot of really good mentors and support. He also deals with, like you said, a lot of adversity, but he finds a way and he manages to overcome a lot of it with a great deal of support.
And I didn't mean the fact that that it was unlikely because of his race, but because how unsupportive his mother was, always working against him, wouldn't even give him a ride to the country club, the country clubs who wouldn't even let him in.
Yeah.
The lack of funds to even get anything better than the rented violin that he couldn't even keep for the summer. I mean, it was like everybody wanted him not to do it. And yet this was his thing. And he, on some level, he knew it and wouldn't give up. When did you know violin was your thing?
I think when I held my first instrument when I was 9 years old, when my dad got it for me, it was in the trunk of his car. We know now not to put violins in the trunk of a car. And in October, that's probably not the best thing for them. I know that now, 40 years later. When I first held it, it was the most beautiful thing that I had ever seen. And it was mine and I loved it. And I couldn't play a note, but I absolutely knew I'm going to do this. I love it. Hadn't heard myself play anything. And I knew I loved it. I knew I loved it from the moment it hit my hands.
Wow. That's so cool. I guess, yeah, I didn't feel anything when I held a violin. So I guess I always felt like it was really uncomfortable with my jaw. I didn't know how to hold it. It wasn't for me.
Yeah, it wasn't the most comfortable thing in the world, but you get used to it. It was cool.
So you overcame obstacles. Ray overcame obstacles. what is it like to now read this character and have him go through all these things and know what's similar to what you experienced and what's not, and see not only his achievement throughout the book, but now that he's out into the world and your story is also now, for whatever version of it you care to share, is also now out in the world for everybody. So how are you feeling about that with these notes for all to listen to?
It is it's an unbelievable, unimaginable feeling. I never thought I would feel like this. I like I mentioned earlier, I just wanted one person to like the story and to be able to relate. And I've discovered, people reading this book and writing to me and talking and just telling me what they've gotten out of it and how they've had similar experiences. And it just reminded me so much of my high school and when I used to play this instrument and I loved it so much. And I could totally relate to that. And I have a family member just like that. And I went through the same thing, and just connecting with people. It's been incredible. And like, I've also been able to reconnect with a lot of my former students, which has been wonderful. And the number of pictures that I've gotten of my former students pulling out their violins, holding the
Oh,
book up. I mean, it's a good thing that we're not live right now, because I'd probably be wiping tears away. And I'll do this real quick. Okay, that was a tear being wiped away. They're just, I
oh,
mean, just to know that I had some small impact on someone through music. It's the most rewarding thing that I've ever experienced, and it is amazing. And this whole ride, it's awesome, and I love it, and I love it, love it, love it, and I love everyone who's read this book and gotten anything out of it. Thank you guys.
oh, that is amazing. Well, it's not just the perseverance, it's also the mystery factor, right? Trying to figure out what happened. Who do we trust? Who do we not trust? Trying to guess the answer. I always guess it wrong, but anyway, trying to follow along as best as we can. So that is like another whole different gift, aside from being a great teacher, which you obviously are, a great writer, but I mean, a great violinist, but a great writer is a whole nother thing. So tell me about that. Tell me how you developed your skills as a writer, how you got this book to be the way it was. Just how did this whole writing thing take shape?
Well, I am in a band, and I'm in a band called Geppetto's Wood. I know it's awesome. And we we would play a lot of covers, and the guys in the band were actually my former students, so it was always a lot of fun, and we knew each other really well. And we got tired of playing covers, and it was like, well, somebody's got to write some songs, and they weren't willing to do it. So, okay, I'll give it a shot. I've written a few things here and there, just essays or whatever, and it's like, all right. First couple of songs were kind of, but then they got better as we went along. And then 2020 happened, and you're kind of sitting there, and it's like, hey, I see Courtney. I see you, Courtney Compton.
I was like, someone saying, "Woo, Geppetto's Wood."
That's one of my former students. She plays viola, and I love her to death. And 2020 came along, and it's like, well, I can write because I'm sitting here eating all day long and getting really fat, so I can write, and I will try to write. So I wrote something and I sent it in to an agent, told me how terrible it was, which I kind of expected, but said I had a decent voice. I like your voice. So, try writing something that you really know. And I said, I know music, and I feel like my story is, it's interesting. It's interesting to me. Maybe it'll be interesting to someone else. And I sat down and I started writing, and 2.5 months later, I had the Violin Conspiracy.
Oh my gosh. Amazing. So amazing. Tell me a little bit more. I loved Ray's relationship with his grandmother. I know we touched on this earlier, but tell me a little bit more about your grandmother, because I can't seem to get enough of hearing about her.
My grandma Nora that is my grandmother in the book. She is my grandmother. She's about 5 feet tall, and she's got pink and green rollers in her hair, and her hair is blue. I don't know if women do this anymore, but back when I was a little boy, like, women would put that blue stuff in their hair and it would just be blue. I still don't get that, but and I'm like, okay, so she was the sweetest woman you've ever seen in your life. Always an encouraging word to all of her children, all of her grandchildren. We all loved her. And she had the sweetest, softest voice, and she would talk like this, and everything ended in a lilt. And, just to this day, everything about her, it was, as I was writing her, I could hear her. It's like she was sitting right next to me. Everything that I wrote just came out of her. And it was super easy to do. And I loved her and I love her to death. And I'm sure I wish everybody had a grandma Nora like mine.
It's amazing how one powerful advocate can offset a lot of the negativity from other people close in your
Oh,
life.
yeah.
I mean, there's so many stories of people whose parents are just not, and I don't know anything about yours, but at least Ray's in the book, just like completely unsupportive or abusive or whatever. But I think less is talked about the protective effects of other
Mhm.
people. Like why they're the ones who should be getting these medals of saving the lives of so many kids, and
You're
it's so
right.
important, right? When parents can't
It's
show up
like
for their children.
it's like it only takes that one person. All it takes is that one person one time to give you that little nudge that you need. We go through such adversity every day. And as far as Ray's mom is concerned, let me go ahead and clear the air on this right now. That is not my mom. My mom was not nearly as bad as Ray's mom in this book. My mom was as supportive as she could be. And you got to understand, like, for someone playing violin like me and coming out of a household where no one did anything classical with classical music or anything, it was just a case of, well, I just don't get it. If you like it, that's fantastic, but it's just not my thing. And I don't know, I don't get it, but I will support you as best I can. Hey, you're having a good time with it, so good on you. But all it takes is that one person to give you that little nudge of encouragement that you need. And it just means so much. In my classes, I would I'd make it a point every day at the end of class when my students would line up to leave at my high school class. I would make sure that I acknowledged every single one of them. I'd shake their hand every day, just to let them know that they are important. They're really important to me. They're important to the class. They're important to each other. And, that's just that one little gesture. I'm sure I know for a fact that it would just brighten everybody's day. It would give them something to look forward to. Oh, I get to shake Mr. Slocum's hand. Oh, we're going to come up with our own little handshake. I had like 50 handshakes in my head that I had to remember. Okay, which one are you? Which one are you? All right, I got it. Nope, that's the wrong one. Oh, okay, well, I'll get it right tomorrow. Go to class. But just, things like that. It's all it takes is that one person.
That's so true. And yet there are also themes of betrayal and who can you trust and
Mm-hmm.
dishonesty and all of that. Are there times in your life where you've had somebody really let you down in that way, or this is like the forum to air some of the grievances, or people that have wronged you, or just something that sort of stuck with you? I mean, I have like a grievance from summer camp when I was 8 years old. So there are things that we
I
all
want to
have.
hear about that one. That's what I want to hear about. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. I know. I bet her name was Becky, wasn't it?
I will say, recently, the person who will remain nameless, who did something mean to me at summer camp, pitched a book to my podcast, not knowing. And I was like, I remember you. She obviously didn't remember me. I sent her the picture of us, the whole bunk picture. I was
Oh
like,
my
do you remember
gosh.
me? And finally I was like, I don't know if you remember how mean you were to me, but it's like stayed with me this whole time. And I just
Oh
wanted
my
to let you know.
gosh.
Yeah.
What did she say?
She said, actually, I do remember. And I feel terrible. I'm really sorry.
Do you think it was genuine?
No.
Oh, okay. We won't ask if her book made it onto your podcast. We're not going to ask that.
It did not. But it wouldn't have anyway. It wouldn't have anyway.
That is good on you. Well, you know what? Okay. And yes, absolutely. There are people that like you said, we run into those people all the time. And like I have truly, within the last maybe 10 years or so, my whole outlook on people has changed. People do what they do because they do it. I have zero control over that. And I can either let them affect me adversely, or I can just wish them well. I don't like to let other people's negative energy affect me. And it used to, I used to take everything so seriously and, oh, these people are doing this to me, and just dwell on it. But now it's like, well, I don't know what's going on in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
So I wish you the best, and I'm not going to let it get to me. Give you a salute, and I just keep it moving. And I try not to dwell on that.
You think it's age?
Oh yeah. do you see? This is why I'm gray right now. This is totally why. I used to have hair. Courtney, you remember I used to have hair?
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Well, I guess all these experiences, the good and the bad, that's what, right? Everything is copy. And look, so you've turned it all into this thing. So there you go. Were there role models in the literary world or novels that you loved or books that had meant so much to you as you were growing up? Authors you really admired that you feel like influenced this book?
Influence, yes. The whole mystery aspect, and my next couple of books are definitely going to have a mystery aspect to them. I have been a huge mystery buff since I can remember. The first mystery that I read cover to cover was Death on the Nile by Agatha Christie, and right after that, I read The Hound of the Baskervilles by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the Sherlock Holmes thing. And I tell you, to this day, I still kick myself because I could not figure out Death on the Nile. I couldn't wait to get to the last bit so I could figure out who did it. And I'm reading it again right now. So before this latest movie comes out, and I love the mystery aspect. And I am also into classics. I know people think, Brendan, what is wrong with you? Like the Oedipus cycle is one of my absolute favorite. It's one of my absolute favorite things to read. I can't get enough of it. And I feel like such a dork, but I'm going to show this. The Epic of Gilgamesh, which is backwards right now. I'm rereading this. Oh, it's not backwards? Oh, okay.
It's not. I don't know why, but let's go with it. Yep.
Well, let's go with that. I love it. I love it. I have loved it ever since I picked it up as a kid, and I'm rereading it now. And it's good stuff. I think the classics can teach us so much and be really, really inspiring. And that brings me to another topic of rereading books. You've read a book and people are like, well, why would you read that again? You've read it already. If it brought you enjoyment, why wouldn't it just bring you more enjoyment from doing it again? There's nothing wrong with it. I say go for it.
I feel like every time I read a book, if a decade or more, whatever has gone by, like I am a different person reading that book, right?
Absolutely.
And so my whole experience of it changes. I just read a book by someone on my podcast who wrote a new book, and I was like, well, I remember this pretty well, but I'll just like reread it again, even though of course I read it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is not all how I remembered it at all, right? And I got so much more out of it that I had forgotten. So yes, I'm a huge fan. Not that there's usually time, but yes, if there's time, rereading can be really interesting.
Absolutely. And I just finished A Little Devil in America by Hanif Abdurraqib, and that's my new favorite book. I love it. I loved it. I'm probably going to reread that, but I'll give it a little bit of time. I'm doing other stuff right now. But I don't have time to read
Gilgamesh calls,
Yeah.
If you liked the Epic of Gilgamesh, you will love Violin Conspiracy.
Absolutely.
Anyway, that's so funny. Wait, you mentioned your next couple books. Let's discuss what's coming up.
Just for you, Zibby. I'm currently doing revisions for the manuscript for my second book, which the working title is called The Composer's Last Score. It is I love this story. I love this story. It has to it deals with someone we would categorize today as living with autism. I'm really happy to write a character who has dealt with autism. I have a nephew who has autism, and I'm really close to people who work closely with the people in the autism community. So I've been able to do a lot of research there. It's about a composer in the United States who is the most famous. He's basically the Beethoven, Bach, Brahms of the United States. He's the most popular composer in the world. His 150th anniversary is coming up. A worldwide celebration is going on. A musicologist has been hired to, just do research on him and make sure that everything is set for his celebration. The musicologist discovers that maybe he didn't write all of the music that he's famous for at all. Perhaps it was appropriated by a Black woman that we might consider living with autism today. And the family thinks that, we can't let this info get out. So they will do any and everything they can to stop him from doing that. And I'm really looking forward to everybody reading that book. I love the story. It's really, really, it's a good story. Good stuff.
Wow.
And I can't even tell you about books 3 and 4. It just blow you away. I can't say anything about it yet. My agent has sworn me to secrecy. Okay.
Wow. And this one, Sony scooped it up. Is that right?
Sony has bought the rights to the Violin Conspiracy, and I believe that they are going to do a limited series, something
Ooh.
like you would see on Netflix or HBO or Hulu. And George Tillman, who directed The Hate You Give and Soul Food and another couple of great movies, he has signed on to direct. And
Wow.
it is really, really, really exciting. You know, you have a director in Hollywood shooting you an email saying, "Hey, Brendan, how about this?" And I'm like, "Is this really happening?" I mean,
Oh my
it's
gosh.
just me. I'm here. This is Brendan, right? This is really happening. It's amazing, and I can't wait to see what they do with it. And maybe if I'm lucky, I'll get a cameo.
Yeah, maybe some violin performance, perhaps. No?
Maybe. We'll
How
see.
do you play violin just for fun ever? Or is it usually to prepare for something or to teach something, or like where does it fit into your recreational time, or does it?
I wish it did more. I'm actually getting to, well, I play in a symphony. I play in the Nova Symphony we're based out of Nova in Northern Virginia Community College on the Alexandria campus in Virginia. And we actually have a concert coming up in April. You can check their website. And I'm constantly practicing for that. And I'm doing a lot of traveling. And for my students that I'm teaching, I pull my instrument out every now and then and I play. I'm going to be in Dallas next week, and I'm doing a performance at the Dallas Museum of Art, and I have got to practice. I got to represent, so I'm like, yeah, I got to practice. I've been so busy writing and listening and doing all kinds of things that, yeah, the practicing is falling by the wayside just a little bit, but I'm changing my
We
strings
have
and I'm
some
practicing.
time. We have some time here. Why don't you grab it? We could listen for a minute or two.
That is funny, but I tell you what I will do. The next time we talk, Zibby, and I hope we get to talk again, the next time, I promise you, I will do a special command performance just for you.
Okay.
Just for you.
All right. You never know. You never know what's going to happen. I'll just work in some of these questions because this one is particularly relevant, which is, have you ever played a Stradivarius yourself? And if so, what were your impressions of it?
I actually have not. That is one of my goals. One of my goals is to just hold a Stradivarius. I've been close to one. I had the opportunity to see Itzhak Perlman play on his Strad. I've seen him in concert a couple of times, and that's as close as I got. And when I tell you, it's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. It's just gorgeous. If I ever get a chance to play a Strad, my life will be complete.
I bet somehow through this whole thing that might come to pass. I'm just gonna.
Oh, from your mouth, Zibby, you keep saying stuff like that.
Okay. Well, all right. We'll regroup. You'll let me know if any of these things come true.
Absolutely.
By the way, if anybody has questions, you can put them here in the Q&A or comments. Another comment here from Barbette. She says, "Hi, I taught with you at Lee Lewis High School and loved your concerts, and mutual students that we taught loved having you as our instructor. I am blown away that you are such an amazing author. Without advanced instruction in literature and writing, you have such amazing character development, and when you describe playing music, I can hear it. How did you, as a musician, create such literature? Our whole English department can't wait to read it. I can see it being taught in English classes." Great question.
Wow, that is awesome. And who is that?
This is Barbette Timberlake.
Oh my God. Hey, hey, yeah, I remember. Yes.
He says, "Hey, Barbette."
Wow, there was so much in there. I honestly don't remember what the question was. I was thinking the whole time.
She wants to know about your character development and how you created this work of literature. Let's talk about character development.
Character development, I actually had to whittle down a lot of what I was originally wanting to put in. There was, and Zibby, this happens, and I had this fantastic character. Oh, he was great, and I'm going to write him into another book. He was just fantastic, but I had to fight to keep him in, but my agent figured, nah, he's a good character, but he's not right for this particular book. So just put him in the scraps pile, and you can go.
Aw.
Just a ton of editing and reading and seeing what made sense, and just getting other people's opinions. What do you think about this? Well, what is this? Why is this person here? What do they do? Well, okay, you're right. I like them. They had a few good lines, but that's about it. They really don't add to the doesn't add to the momentum of the story. So it's a lot of editing, and I'm not afraid to take people's honest critiques about what they think. If they think it's not going to be a good addition to the story at this particular point, okay, got to cut them. But keep them around in your head because it's a good character, just not for this particular scene.
Interesting. All right. Christina Powers, hi Christina, wants to know how the pandemic impacted your writing and has it impacted how you write and influenced your future work in, well, I guess this does, oh, in progress. Sorry, I didn't know I could scroll. How did the pandemic, let me try that again. I was like, I'm good with Zoom. Okay, how did the pandemic impact your writing and has it impacted how you write and has it influenced your future work in progress?
Pandemic is, I know I never thought I would say this, but the pandemic actually is I'm giving credit to the pandemic for allowing this whole thing to happen. Being stuck inside all day long, you can eat or you can write. And after I ate everything in sight, I was like, I got to do something else because I'm not fitting into any of my clothes. It gave me a ton of time to write. I'm accustomed to spending, a lot of time practicing, but I really didn't have a lot to practice for because all of my symphony rehearsals and quartet gigs had been canceled due to the pandemic. So it gave me a great deal of time to write. And being a musician, I was, accustomed to practicing for a couple of hours at a time. So I would literally sit down every day for about 2.5 to 3 hours, and I would just write, just constantly write. It gave me plenty of time to do it, and I think it turned out okay. So I've developed the same, pandemic is starting to loosen up. So it's I have my routine down. I definitely have a routine down. I not just scratch out like 3 hours a day, and that's all I do is write and revise just for those 3 hours a day. After that, I'm not looking at it. Before that, oh no. I got to go to the gym.
Wow. What do you do? Wow. Okay. What do you do at the gym? What are your go-to things?
Cardio first. Got to do cardio. Half-hour cardio, and then abs because after we get to a certain age, abs are just just a word. And then I lift. I usually do chest or shoulders or back or I'm trying to show off my biceps. I'm trying. Does it look like anything? People are like,
you know what? You finally had a moment to show off your biceps. All that time in the gym, and here you go.
See, it pays off. It pays off, just like practicing.
Wait, what's with all the tattoos? Let's go back to that.
It's I never thought that I would be one of those people who was like all tatted up and everything when I was in college. No, never earrings, tattoos, nothing. But then I went with my brother-in-law one day to get a tattoo. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. I started with one, which is terrible. That spider web, it's awful. And then I did the band like everybody does, and then came like
not everybody, but okay.
Well, not everybody. Okay. And then the rest came, and I only did my right arm just because I figured if I was going to mess up one part of my body, it'll just be. And my students remember when I got this crazy one on my that long one, like I wore my sleeve down. It was hot in August, so I had this sleeve up, and this sleeve was always buttoned down. Why are you doing that? Once my tattoo heals, you'll see. And this is really what I want to show off because I am so grateful to everyone who has ever done anything for me. Let me see if I can do that.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
I look at that every single day and I say thank you every single day because I've had so much help just with everything. It's been rough for a couple of years and just I've had so much support, family and friends. They've done so much for me, and that this is one way that I could show my gratitude.
Oh my gosh. What was really rough? You don't have to say
man. No, I'm cool with it because I'm good now. Like I just give you a brief synopsis. I am like 1 in 9 million people that this would happen to. I had some crazy heart thing happen and I was hours away from dropping dead. Had I not made it to the ER, my doctor was like, you need to go now or you're not going to be alive tomorrow morning. I was like, all right. I'm in the ER. I'm in intensive care for a week. And, after they pump me full of meds and they get my blood pressures down and my heart is going back to its normal size. It was a long, long, hard road to recovery. It was really, really tough. And I wanted to quit and I wanted to give up. And I was like, I can't do
Oh
this. I couldn't
no.
play. And then, I lost I lost motivation for everything. And I have some of the best friends in the world to help me out. And Sachi, I know you're on there listening right now. She gave me letters of encouragement and just, I mean, if you ever want to write a book about how to be a good friend, Sachi Rosenbaum she's a perfect person to talk to and one of my best friends in the world. And she just, I mean, just basically helped me to get back to where I am right now. And I'm grateful. So I want to show everybody every day how grateful I am to all the help that I've ever gotten.
Wow. Well, I'm so sorry you went through that. And I'm so glad you're okay.
Me too.
Plus, now you've saved so much paper writing thank you notes.
I tell you, yeah. Hey, look, it's right here, right here.
Yeah, you just have to sort of wave. It's
That's
like
it. That's it. That's all I'm
hi,
going to do.
thank you. If you put goodbye on the other arm, you would never really even have to talk to anybody. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's see. Uh, Katie Cobb wants to know, are you actually a superhero, Brendan, or can we expect superhero fantasy from you in the future with those posters on the wall? And then she says, by the way, we've seen your muscles on your website. Okay, sorry. So I guess this wasn't the only time, but anyway.
Okay, I'm only slightly embarrassed. You'll see a slight shade of pink coming over my face in a moment. Am I actually a superhero? No, it's so funny. I love superhero stuff. So I've always loved it as a kid. And you can see the posters here. And when I was teaching in Springfield, Virginia at Lee High School, I mean, these posters were on the wall in my classroom and this was me. And I always wanted my kids to know this is me. You're getting me. I'm being genuine. I'm not like a stuffy teacher who wears a shirt and tie every day and you have to do, this is what I enjoy. And you do what you enjoy and you stay true to yourself. And you're going to get me every single time. You never have to guess who it is you're going to get today. Is he going to be mean? Is he going to be nice? And that's Mr. Slocumb. He's a good guy. You can see my action figures in the background. I got a ton of those.
Oh, interesting.
I love the stuff. It's awesome. And I have a superhero story in my head, and it is going to be, once I get it on paper, it is going to be the most epic story. Marvel's going to make a movie out of it. Trust me. They're going to say, hey, Brendan, how about that idea? It's like, I'm not finished writing it yet. As soon as I am, I'll send it to you guys. It's going to be insane.
Wow. So do you get in bad moods, by the way? You seem like so even keeled to me. And maybe it's just like the timbre of your voice or something. Like you just seem like somebody who would never raise your voice at anybody.
Wow. Oh, I'm really glad you said that. I make it a point to never raise I don't like to be yelled at. So I don't yell at people. I try my best to, just kind of stay. What I figure, if I'm angry or just not happy with something, what's the point in shouting and pouting and banging stuff around? It's not going to do me any good. So it'll be fine. Things are going to be okay. Just be happy. And it's a waste of time if you're not happy. I don't want to waste any time, having that near-death experience. It's like, why would I spend any time wasting on like being mad at someone or being sad about something? I don't want to do that. I want to spend every second that I have, because I've been given a gift and I want to use every second of it.
Wow. So maybe part of the thank you is like a greater thank you to the universe that you're alive and all that. Yeah.
It's there every chance I get.
Well, Eleanor wants to know if you'll tell us a little more about the story, but I don't want you to give anything away, so I'm not sure I want you to do that. But you could give another tidbit or something if there's something that you feel like we didn't touch on or that you.
Let's just tell Eleanor that it's a really good story, and there's probably things in it that you would not expect.
Yes.
I think that's safe to say. And there's some parts that may be a little difficult to read, but I think they're important because it really sheds light on things that you would not think, on perspectives that you really are not aware of, like just what people had to go through. There's a slavery aspect to it, and when you hear some of the details of what went on, it's shocking, but these things really happened. So it really is eye-opening, and it's a good way to gain a different perspective, one that you probably don't have. And I think that's safe to say. What do you think, Zibby?
I think that's safe to say.
All right.
I think that's safe to say. Read and find out.
There you go.
Get the book.
Buy the book. Yes.
James James Wintle is asking, hypothetically, if you could play one piece on stage at Carnegie Hall, what would it be? There is an orchestra or pianist at your disposal in this scenario.
Oh, wow, that is a
Great
fantastic
question.
question. A
Very
really good
specific.
question. All right. If it was something that I'm good at playing, that would be one thing. And if it was something that I wish I could play, that's something else.
Hmm.
I have always, I've loved the piece Stardust by Monty, and I'd love to play that on the stage at Carnegie Hall. It's kind of flashy and showy, but I played the Kabalevsky Violin Concerto when I was a sophomore in college, and I did a terrible job. I bombed. In the story, Ray played the same piece and he bombed it. That was from my own personal experience. I just want to do that one again for redemption, and I don't know why I haven't picked it up to learn it again, but I would love to play the Violin Concerto by Dmitri Kabalevsky.
Wow. All right. Um, by the way, Courtney from before said, Slocumb, thanks for being the best teacher ever. Everyone
my
who
God.
walked through your door is better for having known you. Now she
Oh,
has an actual question.
Okay.
What current non-classical artists are you listening to at the moment?
Okay, Courtney, it's going to be three numbers, and you know exactly what numbers they are. She's going to type into the screen right now. I guarantee you. I give her 3 seconds. Three,
Uh,
2, 1. What is it,
uh,
Courtney?
yes, she got it. 311.
311. Yep, that's my
311.
band. I love 311. Love them.
Okay. All right. Um, who was your audience for this book, and how do you feel that it has transcended that, I guess, since its release? And by the way, she loves the audiobook.
Oh, awesome. Wow, the audience. I think the target audience for this book was for anyone who has ever been told you shouldn't do something, or you can't do something, or you've wanted to do something and you've never really had an opportunity to do it, or anyone who just loves music, or anyone who loves just an underdog story. If you want to feel good and you want to be happy, this is the book for you. It goes through so many ups and downs that it gives you a sense of, I can do it. I have to keep going. It's a story of perseverance. And if you've ever been told, no, you can't do it, no, it's not going to work, no, you shouldn't do that, and you've had the wherewithal and the gumption to go for it, this book is for you.
Excellent answer. That's a good one. Um, Jean Stoner says, I'm looking forward to your upcoming book about a composer. With that in mind, do you have some favorite composers you'd recommend we look for?
Oh, wow. Whew, that's a great question. I have two favorite composers. One is Antonio Vivaldi, who's a Baroque composer. He's also known as the Red-Headed Priest. And I love anything and everything that he's written. I played a lot of his pieces. One of my favorites, the Four Seasons. He wrote the Four Seasons, and my two favorite seasons are summer and winter. I play those quite often. He's one of my favorites. And Antonín Dvořák is a Czech composer. I love his stuff. Hopefully I'm not coming across as kind of creepy with this, but his music is so passionate. Just, you can feel the passion in his music. He's a very nationalistic composer, and you can hear all of the folk songs from his home in the Czech Republic. And he just pours his heart into everything he's written. I'd recommend Dvořák Symphony No. 8 if anybody is interested. Some of the most beautiful melodies you've ever heard.
I think you can probably be a lot creepier than that. That was not at all creepy, but okay.
Right,
Thanks
okay.
for the warning. Thank you for the warning. You said, by the way, your favorite seasons were in his, symphony
Mhm.
were summer and winter. What is your favorite season in your actual life? Like your personal favorite season? Do you have one?
Summer. I hate being cold. I hate being cold. I'm in my office now with this short sleeve shirt on, and I've got a space heater right there, and it's like 60 degrees today. I hate being cold.
I'm
I
wearing
don't
a
like to be cold.
scarf and I have the heat on. I also hate being cold. I love the summer.
You love
I don't know
summer
why I
too.
live.
See, great
I love
minds. It's
summer.
great minds. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not I used to live in Erie, Pennsylvania, and it was the coldest place I've ever been. And it's cold. It snows from October through April, and it's just cold all the time. And I'm like, yeah, I really miss humidity. I miss heat. I miss being warm. I miss shorts. Yeah, time to go.
Ellen Harrison is interested. How much research did you have to do to get the historic aspects of your book accurate?
Hmm. I am proud to say that as a music education major, I knew a lot of the details, the historical details. I did do a great deal of research on the Tchaikovsky competition. Like I went onto their website and got their schedules. I looked at past performances. I looked at past winners, what happens in between, where they live. I wanted to make sure everything was as accurate as possible because, you put one thing in that's not quite accurate, somebody's going to call you on it. And I just didn't want that to happen. And it's, just want to avoid all of that. And I also tried to pay homage to my teacher, Dr. Rochelle Vetter Huang. I let her read an early copy of the manuscript. I know this stuff, but if I'm going to ask someone, I would much rather ask my teacher, if there's anything that needs to be corrected. And to my credit, I can say I was right on with everything.
Nice. A plus.
Yes.
Okay. Samantha Eckert, hi Sam, wants to know, I love all these questions about Brendan's favorite music. What are some of his favorite authors? Well, we touched on some of this a little bit, but if
Yeah,
you
a
have
little
any.
bit. Agatha Christie, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, Hanif Abdurraqib. I like Colson Whitehead. I like Zibby Owens. I can't wait to pick up your books. Can't wait. April, right? It's a children's book. Yeah, in April.
Yes.
Yes. What's the age group?
They say 3 to 6, but children's
3 to 6.
books are for everybody. So.
They really are. Yeah. I have some nieces and nephews. I'm going to be getting them for it. Just to encourage them to read. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's called Princess Charming.
Princess Charming. I've got a princess niece, and she's definitely I don't know how charming she is, but we'll see after she reads your book. I'm sure she will be.
It's a similar theme of persistence, by the way.
Awesome. Hey, there you go. Yeah.
It's all about never giving up and, trying your hardest, and that's all you can really do. So
absolutely.
Okay. Any other questions from anybody in the audience? I'm looking, I see nothing. All right, what is your astrological sign? I don't think I've ever asked that before. That'll be my last question.
I am a Gemini, and it's so funny you asked that. I actually had my chart read last week, and it was fascinating because it was right on. I learned about houses and moons and rising and all of this stuff, and I still don't know what it is, but it was really cool. I'm like, wow, there's something to this stuff. What's yours?
I'm a Leo, but actually I have twins and they are Geminis.
I see. I like them already.
Yeah, probably would. Anyway, all right. Well, that was fun.
Amazing, you guys. Since we have a little bit more time, I do see one question in the chat as well. What is your favorite violin concerto? So since we have time to get to that.
Favorite violin concerto. I'm a huge Baroque fan. I love any Vivaldi concerto, but I like if I'm going to do a romantic concerto, probably it's close between the Mendelssohn E minor concerto and I really like the 20th century composer Samuel Barber, his violin concerto. Samuel Barber's great piece.
Amazing.
Love it.
Yeah. And normally, the final question that I would ask is about what you're currently reading, and but
it's not your
we
not
already
your
had the
astrological
shout out
sign?
to the Epic of Gilgamesh. So instead, I'll ask you one of the questions that I always think is really fun. From my background as a classical musician, through high school and college, I played oboe.
Nice.
So my question then is, what is your favorite instrument that you do not play?
That's a good question.
I'm going to sound a little bit braggadocious here, and I apologize if it comes across that way.
He plays every instrument.
I really do. I play violin, viola, bass. I play a little bit of cello. I play flute. I play clarinet. I play oboe. I used to play oboe in the Alexandria band. The one that I don't play, I play guitar. Oh, geez, play a little bit of piano. I'm going to say harp. I would love to know how to play the harp. It's fascinating to me. I'm like, wow, and it's so pretty. I love it. So angelic sounding.
Amazing. Yeah, it's it seems like it's a whole different level of complexity. So,
Mhm.
you know, shout out to the harp players if anyone is here. So,
Oh, wait, you
yeah.
know what? I see one question here. Can I answer this one question from Ellen Katz? Going back to the book, how much of Ray
That's my
is you?
mom, by the way.
Oh,
That's my
hey,
mom.
mom. Hey,
Yeah. Hi,
I love
mom.
Zibby. I love Zibby. How much of Ray is in you, and did you have fantasies of becoming a world-renowned concert violinist yourself? Yes, I did, and I'm going to say 92% of Ray is me. 92%, and I did have those dreams of becoming a world-class violinist. But had I started when I was 4 or 5, I probably would have had a better shot. But starting at age 9 was a bit late.
Okay. Christian has a question. What part of the book did you have the hardest time writing?
Ooh, hardest time. Ooh, wow.
My mom says thanks.
Oh, you're welcome. Hey, I like you, Ellen. The hardest part to me, I think probably was the very last chapter, the epilogue. It could have just gone in so many different directions, and I really wanted to. You have to make things progress, and it's like, is Ray an old man? Is he 2 days later? What is it? I had a tough time deciding where to go with the epilogue, but that was the most difficult part.
Okay.
Right. Well, it looks like we may have gotten through everybody's questions. Any final thoughts from either of you guys that you wanted to wrap up with, since we've got a couple minutes left if you want. Otherwise, we can go ahead and wrap things up.
No, my final thought is everybody needs to go out and get this book.
Absolutely.
Give it as a gift.
So amazing. Oh, we do have one final question sliding in from Ellen.
Different Ellen.
Yeah, Ellen Harrison this time. Who would you want to play Ray in the movie?
That is a very good question. I've been asked that several times, and I do not have an answer. I don't know. I truly don't know. I've gotten almost every other character down except Ray. He's the one that it's just really tough. It's just really, really tough. I don't know. If I didn't have this Gray, I would do it myself, but
Well, I'm sure they're going to cast just the right person.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will.
Yeah,
it's good. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. I can't
Ray.
wait. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Brendan. Thank you, Zibby. And thank you to everyone for joining us virtually tonight. Your patronage is really what enables us to bring you programming like this. And we cannot continue to host these types of events without the book sales to support them. So just as Zibby said a moment ago, please do support Brendan and PNP by using the link here in the chat to purchase the Violin Conspiracy. You can check out our website as well for the most current updated event listings. We've got a really great lineup of events to choose from, so be sure to take a look at those. We really hope to see y'all there, and thank you so much once again for joining us today, and thank you again, Brendan and Zibby. Stay well read, everyone, and we will see you all next time. Bye.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Zibby. Nice to see you.
Brendan, hold up your tattoo. That'll be our ending. There we go. Thank you. No, the thank you.